الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to the series of Friday sermon discussions brought to you by Majlis Khulam Ahmadiyya UK Tarbiyyat Department on the Blessed Friday sermons delivered by Hazrat Ameerul Momineen Ta'ala bin Aziz. I am very, very pleased and delighted and honoured to be joined by Majlis Khulam Ahmadiyya UK Mohtamim Tarbiyyat Atikur Rahman Sahib. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to Atik sir.
So Qasim, how you doing? You're right. I don't know about honoured, but how you doing?
Good, alhamdulillah. I'm just excited to hear your summary of this historic Friday sermon that Huzoor delivered very recently. So over to you with the summary of the Friday sermon.
Jazakallah Qasim Saab. It was very interesting Friday sermon. We all knew it was kind of coming because Huzoor does the Friday sermon on Waqf Jadid always at the end of the year. So Huzoor kind of went through a number of kind of experiences that people have had based on their contributions towards Waqf Jadid. But just to kind of bring it back a bit, I think the key thing to note was that Huzoor mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ had been informed and instructed that his focus was to spread the message of Islam right across the globe. And this is one of the opportunities that we have to actually take part in that as well. Not all of us are confident in terms of tabligh. Some of us may not even have the confidence or the knowledge to go out and do a bookstall, but actually taking part in financial sacrifice, especially Waqf Jadid, we have opportunities to take part in spreading the word of Islam, whether that be by building schools, mosques, eye centers, hospitals, whatever it might be across the globe. It all kind of contributes to spreading the word of Islam and Ahmadiyyat across the globe. So the other key thing that Hazur mentioned was intentions as well. And I think it's not about how much you earn, and it's not about trying to promote that. Look, I've donated X amount. Look at me. It's all about what's in your heart, and God knows. An individual who may not earn a huge amount of money, they may only donate £10, but for them that might be a really, really huge sacrifice. And it's all about weighing up about the options of, okay, can I give this £10 or do I need to spend this on food? That is the sort of conundrum that you should be in when you're really sacrificing. The challenge we face today is that in previous times there was physical wars. You could give your life, you could sacrifice other elements, but we're now in an era where we're blessed, where we don't actually get involved in any of these kind of everyday wars and whatnot. So ultimately, our sacrifice has to be money, yeah, and time. But money specifically, what is the dearest thing that we hold to ourselves? It is money. And in terms of looking at it, all you're really doing is you're giving back the money that God's given to you, to an extent. All the blessings that you have with the job that you have, the bonuses that you've been getting, everything that you have received financially from your employer, or whoever it may be, is all a blessing from Allah Ta'ala. So why not actually sacrifice that and show God how much you love Him and appreciate what He's given you? And that's kind of the key things in terms of why we should kind of take part in Waqf Jadid. But one of the key examples that Hazur mentioned was, and I think it's always important to show that we can bring it back to our real lives as well, was an individual from the UK who got a letter from the council to pay his service charges, and we all know how expensive service charges can be. And he also got a phone call from the Waqf Jadid department saying, look, it's coming to year end, it's time to pay Waqf Jadid. This individual decided to pay his Waqf Jadid first. He then got a letter from the council saying that it was all a mistake and actually they owe him money, right? Now, I've been living for 35 years, paying service charges for a long time and never experienced that. So that shows, and the money they paid him was 10 times more than what his Waqf Jadid sacrifice was. So again, that shows, you have to pay and you have to have that faith and you have to have that commitment and that devotion, and the blessings will come. And sometimes blessings come and we don't recognize them. We think, oh, okay, that was just a bit of luck, bit of fluke or whatever, but it's not. Everything that happens is a blessing from God. And my own personal example, a couple of years ago, I promised £400 to pay for Waqf Jadid. And or Tariq Jadid, actually, I can't remember exactly which one it was at the time, it was a while ago. And I was very bad at financial planning, right? Hence why I got married. And basically got to the end of the year and I got a phone call and saying, look, it's time to pay the promise. And I was like, okay, what did I promise? They said £400. I was like, oh, damn. So I was calculating my salary. I was about to get paid in a week's time. I was calculating my bills and whatnot. And I was like, I'm only going to have £50. Right? And I was like, wow, I'm £350 short. And for me, it was an element of embarrassment. I promised this like confidently that I could do this and deliver it. And technically, I should have been able to. But, after all of my expenses went out, I was like, wow, I'm not going to get this. So I got my paycheck, and in my paycheck it had my salary, and then it had pension, all that sort of stuff. But then it also had £400 bonus, right? And we never received bonus in that month, right? We always get it 2 months after the quarter ends. So that was very, very strange to receive anything. It was basically a thank you from the owners for all the hard work we had put in for that month. 400, the exact amount that I had promised. You know, for me, that was a life-changing moment in the sense that I'd physically seen the benefits of the financial sacrifices and how God actually looks after you and really kind of keeps an eye out. And just to kind of finish up on it, Hazur's Friday sermons are a huge blessing for us. It's basically a tool for us to achieve our ultimate goal, which is to get closer to God, right? To get to the point where we can all try to aim to get to heaven, right? That's the ultimate goal. And Hazur gives us the guidance and the tools and all the opportunities that we need in this world. And people always say, like, okay, I didn't understand this was Friday sermon. It was on Sahabas, which is history, and this one's on financial sacrifice. And I've never seen any of these blessings or whatnot. I've been giving. The reality is that if you actually pay attention to Hazur's Friday sermon and you analyze it, and you listen to the summaries after, you read the translation if your Urdu is not as good, I can promise you and guarantee you that it will give you the perfect solutions to success. That success is to gain closeness and nearness to God. And once you start to apply those tools that Hazur gives us in your daily life, where how small those steps might be, I promise you'll start to recognize your life changing. And that is the key. And that's why I think we are so blessed and we have this amazing opportunity of all these amazing Friday sermons. And, the Waqf Jadid one was, again, just an amazing kind of opportunity for us to understand the experiences of other people across the globe. And that's why Hazur does it, to show us that it can be poor, it can be rich, it can be UK, it can be Africa, it can be Belize, a country which is known for gang culture and poverty. That individual, a young kid, to sacrifice his $200, whatever it was. I can't imagine being at his level at that age, going, "Oh, I'm going to probably go spend this on some sweets or food or whatever." He gave almost most of it away to charity. So we should 100% take the best opportunities that we get and appreciate the time that Azrul puts in.
Jazakallah Sab for that succinct summary and also for sharing your own personal example. Just a question off the back of this then, we can see worldly companies who are backed by, huge marketing campaigns. One of their objectives is always to grow their revenue, grow their customer base. We have a Jamaat here that year on year is able to announce, a growth in the amount collected in Waqf Jadid, a growth in the amount of participation. So how is it that this Jamaat is able to do that without, these huge marketing budgets compared to these large corporations?
That's the key, right? That's the most interesting thing about the Jamaat, right? Every time we the campaign starts for Waqf Jadid, Tariqa Jadid, or Chanda, or whatever it might be, you'll always see this growth, right? And the growth doesn't come from a massive strategy or a plan that all these businesses put in place. Their sole purpose is to make money, make profit, and grow. That's it. That's all they care about. Our sole focus is to please God and get as close as we can to God and make sure that we are, attaining the nearness of God. If you focus on that as your core objective and you look at the impacts that that has on every single individual's life, the financial side will always happen. And Azura said it many times, and I've kind of seen it as well. The Jamaat doesn't necessarily need people's money, right? At all. It's actually an opportunity for us, right, to sacrifice something which we hold so dear to then achieve the blessings of God. Otherwise, what else can we do? What else is there for us? We're not going to go sacrifice our life because it just doesn't happen anymore. We do sacrifice our time to an extent in terms of all the commitments that we do. So the growth that we see in the Jamaat is purely down to Allah Ta'ala and the guarantees that Allah Ta'ala has given this Jamaat, that if you guys stay on the right path, you focus, you deliver what I've told you to deliver, you hit your objectives, which is basically to, get that love for God, everything else will be fine, and I will sort it out and I'll look after it.
Jazakallah Atiq Saab. That's a really good summary of the Friday sermon and further discussion around the topics that Huzoor mentioned in regards to Waqf Jadeed. Regular viewers of this show will know we finished with an extract of the Friday sermon, so let's watch that now.
اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضل کے بہت سے واقعات ہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ سچے وعدوں والا ہے. وہ حضرت مسیح موعود علیہ السلام سے کیے گئے اپنے وعدوں کو پورا فرما رہا ہے اور غیب سے مدد بھی فرماتا ہے اور فرمائے گا انشاءاللہ. ہمیں تو وہ موقع دیتا ہے کہ اس کی رضا حاصل کرنے کے لیے اس کی راہ میں خرچ کریں تاکہ اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضلوں کے وارث بنیں. اللہ تعالیٰ ہمیں توفیق دے کہ ہم اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضلوں کو جذب کرنے والے بن سکیں. اب میں حسب روایت گزشتہ سال یعنی 2021 کی وقف جدید کی مختصر رپورٹ پیش کروں گا، اور اس سال جنوری میں نیا سال بھی شروع ہو گیا 2022 کا. تو گزشتہ سال کی رپورٹ یہ ہے کہ اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضل سے یہ جو گزشتہ سال تھا، یہ 64واں سال تھا، اس میں جماعت نے کی وقف جدید قربانی جو ہے 1,12,77,000 پاؤنڈ یا تقریباً 11.2 ملین ہے، اور گزشتہ سال سے یہ قربانی 7,42,000 پاؤنڈ زیادہ ہے. دنیا کے حالات کو اگر دیکھیں اقتصادی تو اللہ کے فضل سے اللہ کا بڑا فضل ہے. اس سال بھی برطانیہ کی جماعت جو ہے مجموعی اصولی کے لحاظ سے اول پوزیشن میں ہے. پاکستان کی کرنسی کیونکہ گر گئی ہے اس لیے ان کا پوزیشن تو بہت نیچے چلی جاتی ہے. اس کے باوجود اپنی طاقت کے مطابق وہ بہت قربانی کر رہے ہیں. بہرحال پوزیشن کے لحاظ سے برطانیہ کا نمبر 1 ہے، پھر جرمنی ہے، اور اللہ کے فضل سے برطانیہ نے کافی اچھی قربانی کی ہے اس سال، اور بہت فرق ہے جرمنی اور برطانیہ کا. پھر نمبر 3 پہ کینیڈا ہے، پھر امریکہ ہے، پھر بھارت ہے، پھر آسٹریلیا ہے، انڈونیشیا ہے، مڈل ایسٹ کی ایک جماعت ہے، گھانا ہے اور بیلجیم ہے.